Motion to go back in.
Come back, yeah.
Motion to come back in.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Right. Again, apologize for that. I need a motion to promote. We filled the position already, correct?
Well, we created the
We
position.
created
Now
the
we
position. Now
fill
I'm
it.
gonna fill it.
Yeah.
I need a motion to promote Al Faust to deputy chief at a salary of 121,718.24.
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
We need a roll call. Councilman Cantorino,
Aye.
Councilman Lyons.
Aye.
Councilman Florio.
Aye.
Councilman Bloomfield.
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we're gonna,
Give the next.
Are you gonna do the second one?
yep, I'm doing that right now.
Yeah.
Need a motion, well, let's discuss and approve the hiring of part-time police officer Kevin Donahue. Kevin Donahue will be replacing Officer Post when he assumes the position of chief tomorrow, right?
Monday.
Monday. Any discussion? No, okay. Can I get a motion to hire Kevin Donahue as a part-time police officer with a starting salary of $30.75 per hour? So move. Second,
Second.
roll call?
Aye.
George? Aye. Rick?
Aye.
Doug?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. Item number 3 on the agenda, discuss and review a proposal for Maplewood Village to transfer 64.33 acres to open space to the town.
Good evening.
Good evening.
You can just please state your name for
Name.
the record.
I'm John Russo from Life Utility Engineering. Here representing my client, Mr. Dan Guerra. APCR.
Yeah.
Everybody see the plan?
Yeah.
No singing, John.
So basically, we're back.
No. Maybe if you guys mute yours, yeah, if you turn yours off. It might be because you're close to the speaker. I'm sorry, we're having.
This working?
Try this.
The white, yep, you should be good.
Try this. You got to serve it out. We just got this.
Good.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm here with regards to the Maplewood project. At the last planning board meeting that we appeared at, we received the comments from the county planning department. Part of that, in the comments, they recommended or were recommending that my applicant offer to the town the area in red as a conservation area, so that the town could control it. They could possibly use it as an expansion to the Salesian property, to the existing park that's there. Right now, that conservation area is broken up into fee simple lots. So all the existing residential development will be taking all of this area. There'll still be conservation easements over it, but the county feels that the town would have better control over this area if they owned it. So the planning board recommended that we come back before the town. They realized that we were here once before for this. The town at that time, several years ago, didn't want it at that time, but they said, go back and ask again. So tonight we're here asking if the town would like to take this as a conservation area.
What was the position of the planning board?
Planning board went either way.
We have a, Joe, we have a record of never doing it.
Yeah.
I mean, we have Eva Estates, Woodland Estates, all these different things. And what did we talk about?
No, I don't think it's this. I don't know. It's good. Yeah.
This is all.
That's the culprit. Anyway, we've never done it before. And this is a question for Rory. If we were to take, what percentage of this is about half of the land, is it? Of the ADC?
66 point,
But how much is the whole parcel? Where it
So
goes?
the whole parcel, the whole project is roughly 95 acres.
Okay, so it's a big
2/3 of
piece.
it, you're gonna need back.
So anyway, the question is, it comes off the tax roll, correct? It's school taxes, town taxes, county taxes, and fire department taxes.
I would believe so, Doug. I can't confirm that, but
And,
one would believe it would.
and that's one of the things that we've in the past been making our decisions. And then the other thing is liability. I mean, we have to signage out, no trespassing, this, that, so forth, and all the other things where, so anyway, I'm just putting that, I don't know why they're asking or why we should not. It's just kind of I'm looking for,
Right, well, the county was looking at it as it could be used as passive recreation. Bird watching, the town could develop trails through there. It would just be passive recreation.
Are the wells on that particular piece?
The wells are,
To me, that would
there's a
be,
well, the well there.
I mean, that, to me, that would be a reason to take it, so we have control of the water.
Yep.
That would be not for recreation. We have a passive part right in front, and a lot of that's, I think, wetlands.
A lot of it's
spread out through
wetland.
there,
Yeah,
right? So
it's not usable, I mean, really, other than
it's
that
not
recreation.
usable, but the point is, we would have the wells and the water to control, and that would be my reason.
Well, Phil, when we, with all the ones we've done in the past, we get the wells, that's already, that land will be ours. And it's part of the developer's agreement. you know. And so that's not an issue, that has to be protected and so forth, so on. But it's the other parts that, and I'm not saying I'm for it or against it, I just don't understand it really. If it's real value to the town,
If it's wetland, it's not, you can't develop it anyway. Am I right or no?
That's correct. You
That's
can
correct.
develop it. You can use it as passive recreation. You
Right.
can put in trails, you can walk through it, you just can't develop it.
Right, so you wouldn't lose anything on tax roll. You can't develop it
So,
Well,
anyway. And then
well,
we'll-
then that may not be true.
I don't know if that's entirely true because right now it's on the road. So
It's on the
Oh, okay,
tax roll.
all right.
so if we said no, it would have to be split up amongst the however many houses are in the development. I can't even see how you would do that.
stage two. That was the original.
That's the way we've been working all along.
So that poor guy in the
This
corner is
this
gonna
poor
get
guy
that big
has this
giant lot.
parcel,
Yeah.
right?
Oh my God.
This is the way it's been going because the town previously didn't want it. And this is the way we were.
So my
directing
concern would be
forwards.
those four people starting to do something to that property.
Right, because they're gonna say it's their land.
Right. I'm paying taxes on it. It's our land.
It's my land. I want to clear it. I'm gonna clear it. I'm gonna do
We'll
whatever.
clear it. I'm gonna do something to it.
Now, there will be conservation easements put over it, but even with that, people will.
Gonna ride motorcycles, gonna do whatever they want to do with it. Yeah.
Yes.
I agree. That's it.
Well, I think that if we were to take it, we would absolutely have to figure out exactly what we would allow or not allow relative to noise and.
So if we just bid a conservation easement, there's basically nothing on there, right?
Same thing as a conservation easement, only we would have title to the property. And because I'm not for or against, but I was more concerned with even the wells and the aquifer that's under those wells.
You
I'm
would
sure
have.
the
to-
aquifer spreads out quite a bit under those wells. So I just like, I mean, that would be my only reasoning, is to control not only the wells, but the aquifer. I think there's a big aquifer under there. Because that's huge yielding well. These are huge yielding wells
Oh, yeah.
that are gonna go for Hamiltonian Park. Most of the wells that we just take the small wells for that development, but this is gonna be for that development. So I don't know, but that would be my.
You know, I had a
So
call
there's
into.
a couple of other issues too that I think I'm, with everybody else, I'm not for it or against it.
Yeah,
I think I'm actually more for it than against
Yeah.
it. But the wells was the first consideration. The second thing is you have two pump stations. And the two sewer pump stations go through the property. One, not so much on the bottom there.
You have one right here,
Or
and then
actually,
you
yes.
have one
One
right
of
here.
them, yeah, one of them. So both of them are going through a large part of this property, right?
No, only this one
Oh.
has a sewer line that runs through the
Okay.
property. This one is
This one
actually running
is
through the
gonna go down
roads.
through there.
Right.
And the one down below there there's no pump station.
There is no pump station. Those are the only two pump stations. You have the wells and you have the well control building, chlorination building
Right.
for the wells.
And then the last thing is, it's contiguous with, I guess I'll call it parkland, even though I don't know if it's officially parkland, meaning the Silesian. So it's contiguous to that, and potentially, yeah, you could have some limited amount of traffic through
Yeah.
there with bird sanctuary or trails or something along that line.
yeah.
And it is also contiguous to the Veteran Cemetery,
Yes.
right on this end.
It is
Right.
contiguous.
Right, that's another thing you want to protect for sure.
Yeah.
So to be clear, that the concern just, at least one was confirmed the tax roll question, which I feel confident that does come off, but I want to confirm that. And then what if any liability, if there is any additional liability that was posed by you guys, but I don't even know that, again, we got an obligation to monitor it to a certain extent anyway, if it's gonna, if you're.
We have insurance policies
Yeah.
anyway to cover any
So-
liability, but I think you have more control over the liability if you own it than if if the home's own it. You really can't stop that person that owns all that property up there from basically.
Yeah, if we get
doing what they
notice that
want.
there's a bunch of stuff going on there on a consistent basis, then we're gonna have to have a presence there anyway, or something of that effect, so it wouldn't just 6 of one, half dozen.
As far as the tax burden, this will be a conservation easement. The taxes on this will be nominal. Because you're not taxing it as a parcel of property that's lived on and stuff.
Mhm.
This is a wetland.
Wetlands non-usable.
Probably quite nominal, so.
I think Neil wants
Neil?
to speak to.
Yeah, I just want to say that we have conservation easement on Upper House Road on Abbey.
Mhm.
We had quite a bit of problem last year with neighbors clearing out dead trees, neighbors mowing the lawn in the conservation easement. We had to send out about 15 letters. We still have a problem with some that we riding either a bike or a motorcycle down there. The problem with that is that we have to get permission from each homeowner to go on their property.
Right.
We have no right to go on anybody's private property without a search warrant, or we can see from that off the property. So it's a lot easier if we own it. to go out
We
there.
own it, we post it, we do what we want to
And
do.
that's its private
That's a good
property.
point.
Good point.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank
Neil.
you, Neil.
Yeah.
Okay.
Anything else? Any other
Oh,
discussion?
The only other thing, unfortunately, Alan Sorensen couldn't be here tonight. Originally, he was going to be here to speak
Yeah.
to the memo that he sent to the planning board.
Mhm.
And the other thing is that, we can actually, I guess, manage it, or as he says in his letter here, it can be transferred to the land trust.
Right.
So the land trust actually could be monitoring this and doing their due diligence and not the town.
After the fact, after we take possession of it, we can transfer, or does that have to be done
Well,
prior?
that's what he's saying in this thing. It
Yeah.
said the town and or the land trust
Okay.
could manage it.
Yeah,
So-
Alan couldn't be here tonight. He had a problem. And I just want to let you guys know that normally Alan doesn't write these write-ups for it, but he wrote this one particularly. He wanted to make sure that we understood that this is important to the county, important to land preservation, and he thinks it's a good position for us to take it.
All right.
Rick,
I like the idea. I do like the idea.
any other discussion?
I don't know.
All right, so
have to, should we like take the information now and digest it and do something officially at the next meeting? Or now, or what?
If there's no other discussion, I didn't have it here to make a motion. I thought there would be some objection that we might have had a research, but
I think the only remaining question is the one that was just posed, is whether it goes from the developer to the land trust, if that's gonna be, but that could be done,
Yeah.
you know, but I would table it till next meeting, let everybody digest it.
With regards to land trust, I'm sorry to interrupt, but with regards to land trust, that's if the developer actually wants to transfer.
Right.
Well, no, I meant it is if the developer transfers it to the town, can the town then transfer it to the land trust after that, or is it? That part,
we
no.
become the owner of it at that point.
If
We
you-
can do
All right,
it.
so then it doesn't, that part can just wait, you can do that
We're
later.
ready to move on this thing.
Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna
Wanna make a
And
motion to,
and I assume the applicant is looking for us to do it as compared to section of the individual people, or they really don't care.
He's leaving it up to the town.
Oh,
If you
yeah,
want it, he's willing to go either way. If you don't want it, we're gonna continue on with
Given that one
Right,
guy,
these
huge
lots and the
things.
homeowners going in there, clearing it and doing what they want, even though they're not supposed to.
right, Phil, you want to make a motion?
I make a motion that we accept the Maplewood Village transfer of 64.33 acres as open space to the town, transfer title to the town.
Second?
Second, and then we're, once that's transferred, then there's gonna be one of those conservation easements
Correct.
Yeah.
developed, right?
So the question I have for Rory,
Probably won't have.
No, hey,
since we're still before the planning board, we're still modifying this. I can't say it's gonna be exactly 64 point
Yeah.
whatever acres.
Whatever
63.
the planning board decides it is.
Okay, so I don't know if you need
You
to
want
change
Make that
that
motion,
motion.
make
we
that
made
motion
that-
Shall I
subject
rescind my
to,
motion?
Yeah.
just, yeah, rescind it, make it subject to the planning board's designation of what the acreage is, or what the, you know, what the cut is. So,
That'll be my motion, subject to planning board.
you got it, good, thanks. So you don't
Is
have
it
to
a
change
roll
that.
call or a? I don't think
We
so.
need a
Yeah.
roll call
Oh,
on
yeah.
this?
Roll call?
Just, yeah.
Just wanted to discuss it, because I'm still a little bit
Yeah.
up in the air.
Yeah.
Okay, the land is transferred over to us. Okay, now we're the owner of it. We still have to have a conservation easement created to
Why?
protect it.
Why?
Well, because if we just have the land there
Right.
and there's no conservation easement, there's no format to make sure that, we've had those conservation easements, they're like 10 or 12 pages long.
That's
and
because
they
that's
have
private property.
Is it,
This
is it
is
a
our
conservation,
property.
isn't a conservation easement private property and we're just protecting the
Right.
land even though the
Right.
owner owns it?
This is the land we own. It's no trespassing.
No
period.
trespassing or nothing.
So it's our land, but then there's nothing more that has to be done. I thought there would have to be something done to create this buffer zone, that there would be nothing built on there and so on and so forth.
We own the land.
I know
Nobody
that.
can build on that land if we own it.
Not building,
I understand.
we,
that.
we have to protect, for example, trespassing and all those other things around
Right,
those
right.
wells, so that people can't screw it. I mean,
Right.
So we
So
put
there-
signs
we're
up,
gonna
no
have- I mean, we can
trespassing.
limit
And not only
this.
that, I mean, your town engineer has requested that we fence in around the well areas.
Oh, yeah.
So they're gonna be
Oh,
fenced in,
definitely.
so.
Absolutely.
Okay.
So I guess.
Yeah, I mean, again, Georgia,
Well, I mean-
I don't mean to punt on it, but I think Phil's point is well understood. It's our property. The only people that could make a designation of building on it would be sitting at this dais right now. It
Again,
would have to go through,
I guess the point that I'm trying to make, and someone,
Yeah.
maybe Phil said it was, okay, if it was private property, like it was originally there, then you would have to have a conservation easement.
Right.
If it's
Correct.
town property, then you don't need a conservation easement. I thought you had to have something there, but hey, I
I
stand
think
corrected.
Neil can
Neil
answer the
Yeah, Neil's
question.
got it.
I'm not sure I can answer, but in fact, as part of the approval from the planning board, I think this property has to grant the town 50% land for conservation easement. So it may not be a question for the town board, right? Wait,
For the planning board,
approval. So
right.
if there's a condition like that, the planning board's approval, there may be a more question like that.
Well, if they grant us the conservation easement, if somebody else owns it, if we own it, that, we don't need that.
That's not
conservation
an option for the planning board at this point. Maybe,
No,
I
it's
don't
our
know.
option.
Am I right or not?
Well, basically, we have to
They
put a
can put
conservation
anything they want.
easement.
All they have to do is designate 50% of the subdivision, either in to us, and we put it to us or we put a conservation easement.
That is not how the code is written right now, or maybe that
That's
it can
how
be
it
done, but
was.
that's not how the code's written right now.
Okay,
What
That's
what
how
is,
it was.
is open space,
right,
okay? And that can be sold to somebody, for example, I mean, like Woodland Estates, Mr. Buckeye owns that 45 acres. So it's not a conservation easement. It is
Right.
kept open. On this, that's why I said,
That's open
it's the first
space.
time.
Is it something that we have to determine tonight, or we're
No.
just gonna assume that we're gonna take the property and then
Yeah.
however
Yeah.
direction we go?
yeah, because the planning board is they're only regarded as open space.
No, they have to give land for the conservation easement, I think that's a requirement in all subdivisions in the RU zone.
We don't have to give the land.
No.
All we have to do
No,
is
no, no,
supply a
right.
conservation easement
Right, I
over
agree.
50%,
Right,
50% of it. But if we continue
Rory, you need
as
to look at
currently
that.
designed, all the homeowners will own that area. It'll just have a conservation.
Right.
And then you'll have to go get.
I agree.
Any other discussion? I think,
Need a roll
a
call.
roll call. Councilman Antorino.
Aye.
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 Bloomfield? Aye. All right, guys, thanks a
Thank
lot.
you very much.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
I don't think it comes off the assessment for tax reasons, because at the end of the day, each lot is assessed by the size of the home and the value of the home, not how many acres you have. So I don't think it makes a difference.
Well, I mean, we've got one out there that Mr.
Right.
Buckeye bought that land and it's assessed. I don't know what the basis is of it, but he pays taxes on that land. And it's a whole lot less than if he had houses on it,
Yeah.
of course. But if the town owns it, I'm assuming,
Yeah,
Well, I mean, I understand the point is that the homes are already assessed at what they're assessed at.
Yeah, if
So
you have a $500,000 home,
It's-
whether you have 5 acres or 10 acres, you're assessed on the $500,000 value of the home.
Right.
How many bedrooms, how many
Right.
car garage we have, not how many acres we have. It's relevant till we build the homes, but after we build the homes, it's the
Right.
size of the home that matters, not the size of the lot. So the
They're not gonna
county's
go
not
down.
gonna lose any money one way or the other.
So, I mean, it theoretically comes off the tax rolls, but the town's hit, which seems to be,
Nominal
it's
at
not,
best.
it's not us. I'm thinking about the schools and the fire
Yeah,
department.
I
and the
can't
county.
answer that. I mean, I have it written down to answer it for the next meeting.
but I understand what you're
Yeah,
saying.
but that, I mean,
My gut feeling is the assessor always look at the closing price, not the size of the
Of the
lot,
house.
I think.
Yeah.
When do you think
Yeah.
you'll start building? You have any idea?
When?
Yeah,
As soon as you give me the approval, we're on.
okay.
We're on.
That's
We're
good.
on.
Been a long time in the making.
long
I was
time.
on the board 10 years ago when we started this.
Yeah,
So
no,
what-
we're ready.
Yeah, good.
What's the plan as far as, are you going to attack it from the standpoint of like building out one section and then go to the
No,
second
you show-
section?
you show the phases. Maybe
I don't
3
have it.
phases. I don't
Yeah.
have the plan.
Well, we have it in front of us here, though.
Yeah, where are they in the planning process, Neil? Neil,
Generally.
Neil,
Yes, I'm sorry.
where are they in the planning process? How close are they?
I think there's still some final approvals that happen.
Yes, we're still going through the agents. Actually, we need to receive preliminary approval so that we can move on to Department of Health and DEC. We're currently with DEC with regards to the wetlands. We're looking at this cul-de-sac being the first.
Right.
To allow for that development of the wells. Probably looking at this as the second, and this would probably be the third.
So, and at the first part, how many homes is that?
37?
No, there's
2,
only
4, 6, 8, 10.
10,
Wow.
10 right there,
Originally. there
But
were
all
37.
total, how many?
68.
I thought,
68 overall.
Right.
yay.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay.
That was easy.
Next up on the agenda is discuss and approve the health insurance plan as presented by Marshall and Sterling and authorize the supervisor to sign the documents. You're on, George. It's all you.
Okay. So in your packet, you should have a thing there that's on the top says Marshall and Sterling, Town of Goshen. It starts as of 9/1/2022. So we presently have the plan that is in blue all the way over to the left-hand side. The second one that's circled says the same thing. It's a bronze 7 HSA through NBP. And it's a carbon copy. there's absolutely no differences whatsoever as you look down through the whole thing, except the premium. And the premium, well, last year was $497. You can see that there's $672, and the premium now is going to go up to $527, $765. So it's a raise of about 6% for the same, for the same exact plan. And that was, I mean, I hate to say it's reasonable, but from what Eric was telling us, there was some other plans that other people had that were going 10%, 12%, and so on and so forth. Another thing that you should be aware of, and I didn't actually verify this, but I think it's pretty good information, is if you look at the single premium, which we have 9 people, we have 31 people in the plan completely. There's no police because the police is still in the Empire plant. But we have 9 people that have the single plan rate. And you can see that there, it's $714.43. From what I'm told, the Empire plan for a single is over $1,000.
Right.
So you can see. And then,
Still cost reduction.
Yeah, right. So then the other good news, and I hope it continues to go on, we have the HRA. So the HRA funds, this is a high deductible plan, as everybody knows, and we pay all the deductibles and the co-pays. And as of June 15th, the HRA was at 30%. I just hold on, I got it right here. I'll give you the wrong figure. I'll put it in this. Next page. Okay, so as of 6/15, the utilization rate for the HRA is 32.9%.
Right.
Which, we're figuring on 60% of the
Right.
use of the HRA. So that's of course another savings. And there's 2.5 months left in the plan, which this plan retires, the HRA retires on 8/31. So we should have another cost savings as well with the HRA. So that's our, this is a negotiated thing that we did with the CSEA. So this is basically for information purposes, but I guess I think in the past they've done a resolution where we.
Yeah, you may have to make
Accept
a
it.
motion to
Yeah.
accept it and have Joe sign.
Right. So I'll make the motion that we accept
I will
the
second it.
MVP bond 7.
Yep.
Plan for September 1, 22 through 8/31, 23.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
George, thank you for negotiating that. That's a lot of work. You and I have done that in the past.
Okay. Review and approve the June 9th, 2022 minutes. I have a motion to approve them.
So moved.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Bill, could we get an update on what we did with the leasing? You're going to do a study to see whether it was better for us or worse, and we'll leave it over to you.
Yeah, so with discussions with
Enterprise.
Enterprise Leasing Company. And we were on the phone with them, we're actually on a Zoom meeting. And we're trying to weigh whether we should try to go leasing or continue to buy. Primarily, they're talking about a fleet of 100 vehicles. That's, we probably have about 15 or 16 vehicles. Simply, when we need a vehicle, we put it in the budget, and we buy the vehicle. That's the end of it. We pay pretty close to dealer cost, we take it off state bid. So it's an easy thing. If we wanted to ban it, we would ban it at a municipal rate, which is very, very low. In talking to these people, once again, they're talking about 100 leases or more. What happens with a lease is, most companies will lease, maybe Orange County, most big firms, because they only put the payments on the balance sheet for 12 months. They don't put the whole liability on, so it makes their balance sheet look a lot better. This is only 12 monthly payments, but they have to pay it every year. And then there's a balloon payment at the end. Now, that's on an open-end lease, there's a balloon payment. You're responsible for the balance between what the residual value is. And I don't want to go too deep into the woods, but I will if you want me to. You're always, the risk is on the individual, on us, would be on us. On an open-end lease, they don't care if you put a lot of mileage on the car, if you depreciate the car, no matter what you do, because primarily you're going to either buy the car at the end of the lease, or they're going to buy it, sell it, and then bill you for the shortfall. Now, I thought we were talking, that's an open-end lease. I thought we were talking about a closed-end lease. Because on a closed-end lease, and they said that they could structure one, but most municipalities do open. On a closed-end lease, a lease is, you have capital cost, residual value, and everything in the middle is amortization. So what happens is when you get to a 3-year lease, let's say, and you get to the end of the lease term, you have a residual value. You can either turn it in. If for some reason the car is worth a lot more, then you have the purchase option. If it's worth a lot less, you say this is yours. On an open-end lease, you're responsible for no matter what it is. So, I mean, I like closed-end leases because you know where you're going. But on an open-end lease, you can pretty much set the residual where you were, and a lot of companies use open. As I said, I'm trying not to get into the woods. If it goes too much, raise your hand and I'll stop talking. But on an open-end lease, a lot of customers will just say, my company wants to buy these on an open-end lease. They set the residual value at $1,000. The company pays for the lease. They buy the car and sell it to the president's wife for $1,000. The company has paid the whole thing. He and I had a little bit of discussion about that because he said, well, you sell it for $1. Well, in New York State, there was a conditional sales contract, they called it. Was illegal, and it is a contract. It's a contract. So the long and short of it is it better for us to lease or buy? The buy, I said, is really simple. And we buy what we buy, we budget for what we buy, and it's over. We're not going to pay, we don't have to budget for 3 years and then be faced with a balloon. That's just false. That's what they did with road paving in this town. When we came into town, they were financing road paving. Well, they paved the road this year. Next year, you had to do it again. But for 5 years on a bond, we were still paying what they paid. And the other thing is on this particular thing, they take care of the title, license, MV charges, which we do, but they'll charge us a $200 administration fee. Then there's a lease management fee. It's 0.10%. They pack that in the front end, spread it over the balance. The rate is tied to a 3-year treasury, but they add on 350 basis points, which is 3.5%. And they have control over the insurance. They're additional insured so that if you have an accident, you got to worry about it. And when you turn the lease over, they inspect it. And to make sure there are no things, if there's any damage and you're turning the lease back to them, you have to pay for the damage, even if it's just wear and tear things. So there's a lot more risk that's on us than there is just buying the car and then we use it and finish using it, and we either sell it for surplus or whatever.
What's the advantage?
to me, there is none.
Right, I don't see what it is.
There's an advantage if we had our own company and a big fleet,
Exactly.
because it's a cash situation where you only have the payments on the balance sheet and the cash flow. And the balloon payment doesn't appear on the balance sheet and you don't have to pay it up front. But it's really, it's a finance type lease. So, I mean, I could go in once again and you know, at least our relation go deeper, but basically for
Better off
us,
buying.
yeah, we have 15 cars, we buy it at state bid. And it's almost dealer cost. They say that they buy theirs from their dealer. They tried to say they buy it from the manufacturer, and that they cannot do that.
But Phil, the other thing is,
Yeah.
we keep them as long as we want to.
That's right.
And then they end up in the highway department or some other
Exactly.
place. We get a lot of use. I mean, they're worn out by the time we get
They
there.
are. So that's, I'm just giving you
No, I
a
listen.
hip shot
I
of
was-
what goes on between a lease and a purchase.
It was a very enlightening Zoom meeting. I can tell you that they were mesmerized by the questions that were coming out of Phil's mouth, like they had never heard
But
them
he did
before.
it for a living.
So I was pretty much made up my mind after the Zoom call that we'd be buying.
Hey, what do you make me go through this
Because
whole
I
thing
want-
for? Jesus.
Because
You
you
didn't
did
look
so
ahead
much
for it.
work on it. I wanted everybody to know how
Okay.
well versed you are in leasing.
You know, that brings up, I was out on the highway yesterday, and I see two of the buses out there. We have two buses in
Yeah.
service. We have two buses out there, no plates on or anything else. Are they owned by the county still?
County.
I think.
Do they go back to the county or?
Well, the county has them up for auction right now.
Oh, okay, fine.
Neil brought to my attention today that Legoland may be interested in purchasing them. So I'm gonna have a discussion with Jim Purple at the county and
Good.
with Legoland's.
You know, I tried to make an arrangement when I was with the county because our county facility needs one of those, could use one of those buses. You know, so I
Do
don't
they still
know.
need it now?
Well, for transportation, they use them for transportation, but they have to reconfigure, although they do, they have wheelchair.
Yeah, they're wheelchair accessible.
Yeah, so
Let me know, because
I don't know. I mean, we can call and
Yeah,
ask.
give them a
if they
call.
would like.
the county county planning wants them off their docket, so they got rid of.
Right.
They got rid of the 6 that were in Newburgh that all the catalytic converters were stolen out of. You still have catalytic converters, so we're keeping an eye on them. That's why they're close to the police department. But if somebody's interested,
Well,
And
it's
it's
for
a county
Valley
thing,
View,
yeah.
if we're good, Valley View would use them for
Yeah, put
transportation.
them in the
The
swamp.
hospital
Get 'em
and
there.
stuff like that. That's what we were gonna buy them. We were gonna buy one
Yeah.
for Valley View, but I couldn't get it converted. It was a real.
this one is
But these should
ready
be
to go.
converted.
Yep. It's got the lift in the back.
Yeah, I'm surprised they don't.
I'll talk to him tomorrow.
Yeah, right. For Valley.
We want to get them off our property. That's all we care about right now.
Okay,
All right, so,
okay.
okay,
So we're buying,
we're buying.
right?
Yeah, we're gonna buy
Good.
Chief's
Okay.
car and then we're gonna transfer over to the Chief's car over to the building department and get rid of the Durango? Durango.
There you go.
All right, item number 7. I don't want to throw you people for a loop in the audience, but myself and Phil discussed briefly about creating an exploratory committee to begin the process of evaluating the cost for a new town hall at Solution. I think for the most part,
Well, the Solution didn't enter into a conversation.
well,
It
I'll
was
tell you
the
why.
Newtown
I'll tell you
building.
why.
So,
Yeah, Solution should have been in there, but it's an ideal spot because the foundation is already there.
it's a half owned by the village, right?
Well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I can't determine who
Yeah.
owns it.
No, always have. But
Yeah.
you know,
So-
but years ago,
So if we
Truly.
build one, they're gonna want.
years ago, we were
Yeah.
talking about, well, even consolidating, that'd be a great place where
Yeah.
you're building
Yeah,
Well,
village
it's-
in one half, the town in the other hand, and then when people have the nerve to do it.
Well, that's why this is an
Eliminate.
This is why it's an exploratory committee.
Yeah.
So we'll explore it.
The first
We'll ask Mayor Wall to bring somebody into it. And we can discuss it. I'm not saying we're gonna go there.
yeah, yeah.
I just
yeah,
think
yeah.
the building here needs a lot of work. We've
Yes.
outgrown it. There's no room upstairs for anything, no room for the courts, no room for the building department. They're on top of each other. We're spending, Mary, how much at Iron Mountain? $3,000 a month?
3,000 a month.
3,000 a month to store all of the,
Yeah.
All the records.
all the records from the building department.
We can still explore the
Yeah.
whole thing.
Well, Rory, you know, the
Your
village,
thing?
the
Yeah.
village is maxed out too.
They're
Oh,
maxed out
it's beyond
also.
maxed out. That
Yeah.
was-
But they're maxed out on money. I mean, on
Well,
I
true,
know.
that too, but they need a new facility too. right?
They do. That is not an ideal situation.
No, I mean, I talked to Pete Smith about this a while back, because they wanted a police station, because they're outgrowing that.
Yeah.
He wanted to tear the building down and put a police station there. I said, well, that's not gonna happen.
No, listen, if you can do a joint one, that would be great. And if you can't, we still need to look at something for us.
The fact is, though, is that we, years ago, starting at the county level, working down consolidation. For example, we consolidated assessing with the county and us, and we've saved $1.3 million since we did it. And then we were looking at, no one had the nerve to say, well, let's take the town and the village and put them together. And if you're in one building, you can kind of work toward that, but when you're in separate buildings, it's pretty hard to do that.
Yeah.
And so, like this court room right here is much better than one they've got. I mean, and so.
Well, yeah, correct. That's why they're looking at the merge. units.
Yeah, I mean, but if we had one like this and shared it, it makes sense going forward.
So
Depends on availability of money.
So we're going to say, create this.
create an
committee.
exploratory committee. I don't know who would like to be on it. We can talk about it and then create it, and I'll speak to Mayor Wall, see if they're interested in talking about it. I'd like to get, obviously Sean, an engineer, one of the engineers on it.
But one of the, again, I'm not saying it's going to be a solution, it could be anywhere.
It could be anywhere.
But there is a foundation where we could actually save some money,
Correct.
leaving the foundation in there with the potential for a building down the road.
Correct.
So
There's a
that's the
huge
only thing
cost
that's
savings
pressing.
because they wouldn't have to buy any of the fill for it. The foundation would stay in place, and the foundation, from what I understand, is in great shape. They would clean it all out. They would remove any asbestos if there was any, and then we would just have to build a barrier completely around it to enclose it for safety purposes. In the,
But it really depends on how big a building we want to
Correct.
have too. I mean, that foundation may not be big enough to hold up.
That's a pretty big building.
That's a big.
Yeah, but you could extend it too.
You can go up.
You
Yeah,
can extend the
Yeah.
foundation.
pretty big building.
Okay.
But you can't bury the whole foundation?
You could, but then you're gonna dig it up to put a building in, so that's gonna cost you double the money.
Well, right, but at this particular point, we have no idea really what that would be.
Yeah.
I was just thinking of, well, if the
You
foundation
could,
underground.
you could bury it with dirt and then dig the dirt out.
Right.
Yes, you can do that without
So therefore
knocking
you
the
don't have-
foundation down.
You don't have a foundation that's kind of
Correct.
sticking out there, which may never be used.
Correct.
It's 2 feet down.
Correct.
I think that's the thing we should try to do.
All right, so,
Save money and leave the foundation.
We'll sit and talk about who wants to be on it. We'll get a couple of people on, 4 or 5 people, and, then we'll let Mary run it. Okay. Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay the accounts payable check run on June 23rd to 2022 in the amount of $248,750.61.
So moved.
Second,
Second,
all in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay workers' comp claims in the amount of $1446.86. Motion?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
For information purposes only, Christine Cavallari conducted an accounts payable audit for June 9th, 2022. And
public comment.
public comment. Bill?
Yeah, Joe. Just want to come back on the last subject, the building. My understanding was the foundation was coming out,
It is. It's part of the, yeah, absolutely part of it.
but
Part
you
of
were
the
just talking about possibly leaving it unless I misunderstood.
Well, I mean, it's exploratory. It's just talking about it. That's
Yeah.
all. Yeah.
Okay, so, but if they finish up and they leave the foundation there on the chance that they'll build on it, and then we decide they want the foundation out, you're gonna have to get it back and do that.
Yeah, but I think we'll have that discussion. We'll have an idea whether we want to be there or not in a very short period of time.
Oh, you will? Oh.
I think so. I mean, either we're going to say yes or no. you know, I don't think it's gonna take years to decide it. It
Okay.
may take years to figure out how much it's gonna cost.
Yeah. Right now.
And,
the proposal is
from
a
my
town-
understanding is, excuse me?
And right now, the proposal is a town hall.
No.
No.
No
No
proposal.
hall.
There's no proposal.
There's nothing on it,
No.
nothing on the table.
Because it's gonna start swirling. out.
No.
Nothing on
That's
the
why
table.
I wanted to correct that. There was no.
There's an
discussion on the
exploratory
town
committee being set up to
Yeah.
discuss
town hall.
possibility of building a new town hall somewhere,
There you
Oh,
go.
somewhere.
somewhere,
Okay.
over the rainbow, somewhere.
All the rest of this is just.
I only brought that up as a possible savings, that's all.
So in the proposal that we have now, the 1.5 million, the foundation is taken out.
Right.
That's right.
Completely.
That's
That's the way it is now.
The-
Unless we
The walls are
intercede,
taken out,
and
foundation, the floor is cracked.
And that stays.
It's cracked so that water can seep through, correct?
Okay,
Only the foundation walls are coming out.
right.
That's-
So what I was thinking is if it was possible to save some money by leaving the foundation walls in there, and it could be below ground, not above ground. I'm not looking to have a building out there looking, everything's gone and you just have a foundation there. It would have to be below the ground. And then if we decided to do something, fine. If we never decided to do something, that's also fine. Nobody knows it's there.
And it talked about reducing it down to 2 feet below the ground. That was the last discussion we had.
That was the last
And
discussion.
then they wanted to know if they could pulverize the actual cinders or whatever and fill it, and that was a no.
No.
So if we leave the foundation 2 feet underground, it's gonna have to be filled anyway.
Regardless of what we do, if we
Right,
fill
gotta
it,
be
the
filled.
fact that the concrete floor is gonna have to be cracked so that
Right.
water doesn't build up. in it.
Right.
Whether we decide
walls we're
that's the
talking
greatest place in the world for us or not.
Yeah.
That's gotta be cracked.
Yeah,
If you
it's
fill
the
it with
walls
dirt.
we're talking about.
Correct.
Now,
But they're,
I did talk to the gentleman who is going to be building Maplewood. And right today, construction costs are up 19%.
Yeah.
He said, it's a bad time. But I think what we ought to do is if we decide we want to do this, is to get an architect to come in and figure out what it is that will
Correct.
meet our needs and can the village,
contribute.
well, I mean, no, they're going to have to pay for their half.
That's contribute, isn't it?
Oh, it is.
Isn't that contribute?
Well, no, normally there's about 20% and then we suck it up on the other. But anyway.
That
I think
exploratory
it's an
is a
idea.
good idea.
Just,
Yeah.
we're exploring,
It's
guys.
a
That's
good
it.
idea. Let's move
Yeah,
on.
It's not gonna happen. I don't want everybody getting nervous
No,
that a
no,
building,
no.
you know, we're gonna wake up tomorrow morning and you're gonna see the guys constructing on Salisha property.
Loose
It was
lips,
just a
big
thought.
ships. Right. World War II. We're good.
I just wanted, Phil, are they working there now? I don't see any trucks going.
Today they didn't. They had
COVID.
a
3 guys had
situation.
COVID today,
Is that COVID?
so they pulled them for another job. They'll be there tomorrow.
Yeah.
Union. It's a union job, so COVID is a reason to take
Yeah.
a couple of days off, I guess.
Yeah, today they.
What, did they knock it down and then they're gonna remove stuff?
Yeah.
Because I haven't seen any trucks leave there.
No, they had to cut up the steel.
The steel's been leaving.
Oh, it
And
has?
probably a dozen trucks of steel are left
Oh,
already.
I haven't.
They're almost down to no steel left there. They separated the concrete that is not rated for asbestos and it was tested. That's being removed out of there and going to a crushing facility in Warwick. And then they're going to start removing the brick and the debris. They're thinking 4 to 5 weeks
Yeah.
to get everything done, get it out. It's a long haul up to, I believe they're going to Keystone, every truck. So it's a long haul up there. Keystone, Pennsylvania.
Oh. Telling everybody why. Somebody mentioned that.
No, I think it's going to
Yeah, close.
Keystone. He said it's about 5-hour round trip.
What's this thing?
That's better.
You want to talk?
Anybody
You
else?
can stand up just and state your name for the record.
Robert Coyle. I have 2 items, but one of them is the Erie Street Park. Would that be the village? I would have to go over
Village.
that with? Okay. So
Actually,
then
it'd be Park and Rec,
Joint recreation.
joint recreation.
I just wondered about there's no water fountain there and the pump has a lock on it. Park and Recreation, you said I was going?
Yep, they meet the first Tuesday of every month
In the
Okay.
village hall?
at Village Hall.
It's the
Okay.
second Tuesday, isn't it?
First,
First Tuesday? Yeah.
yeah, first Tuesday of every month.
Thank you guys for that. And this one concerns me more. this, I'm starting up a little business, and maybe some of you guys have heard of it before. You know, operates in that grayish area with the cannabis and the gifting it to people. You know, you're selling one item and you're gifting them marijuana with it. I have an RV for it. I have actually the completed application except for the insurance page, which I do have. I've been told from the Divine Insurance Company, but he just couldn't get it to me today. But so I don't know if you could discuss it without looking at the application, but I figured I'd at least try to grease the skids anyway, but come up with some ideas that, you know, maybe this could be a good thing, kind of like a test dummy type situation for the town.
We opted out of having sales of marijuana in the town of Goshen.
Correct. Yeah, so this is actually, you know, and other people are doing it too, where they're gifting the marijuana. It's not a sale of marijuana.
So I'm going to read you an article that I received from Senator Martucci. I called him up after we had met because I
Yeah.
wanted to make sure everything was the state. He was on the cannabis board. He nominated Jen Metzger to the board. He's fully familiar with it. This is the news article that was put together by New York State. New York clamps down on businesses offering marijuana as a gift. While New York works on launching legal market for recreational marijuana, some entrepreneurs have jumped into the legal gray area by saying they are not selling pot, but giving it away while people buy something else. Now the state is saying that they have jumped the gun and need to stop. The Office of Cannabis Management said Tuesday it sent letters to more than 24 enterprises it suspects of illegally selling weed, telling them to stop or face fines, potential criminal charges, and the risk of their prospects of getting a license once they are available. So as of right now, the state is saying what you're doing is not legal.
Well, that's one article, and I have read something about that too, but there's also several people on the cannabis board, and they've been taking polls of different district attorneys and prosecutors. Unanimously, they're pretty much, none of them are prosecuting any of these people. And some actually are actually in favor of it. I like, you know, I'm not really trying to get by on a technicality like that.
Listen, we
with
had
the
a
gifting
conversation.
thing.
We had a
Yeah.
conversation. I mean, you
Yes,
know, we
yes.
were out there, we had a conversation.
Yeah.
I told you I would do the research for you.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the position that they're taking right now. If you could refute that with somebody from the cannabis board, I'd love to see it, you know, and then we could look at it. Rory?
I think before we even get into the subject of the marijuana,
Right.
would be whether there's a license to peddle.
Right.
And I don't know, I don't have any.
License for him to peddle. That's what his
Correct.
application is right now.
Got
He's
it.
waiting
All
for
right.
something.
So.
That was the discussion we had when I went out there with the officer from the
Got
town.
it, understood.
So we had a discussion. We let him stay the weekend because he was unfamiliar with it. He showed up here, like he said he was. He got the application. There were some things he needed, which he's working on. In the interim, I received this information, but we gladly take a look at it if, you know, if you have refutable documentation from the cannabis board that there is no issue with it.
I've read a lot of articles about it, and then with the laws, it is kind of a technicality, so they haven't actually prosecuted anyone, but I do know that they have shut some people down. I'm not sure what avenues they went to do that. But I'm just trying to think of any way I could potentially get this, you know, like it's a test run, and I looked at the laws here. You got the, 7310C. The clerk can suspend it at any time, so it's not something that's set in stone either. And I kind of would have my ear to, you know, what's going on in Albany and also what's going on in the streets. I don't know, I'd be willing to teach seminars on safety for the stuff.
We, the town board, said we don't want to sell it or,
Right.
you know,
Yeah.
in Goshen, New York.
Yes,
Now,
We will prosecute.
pardon?
yeah.
We will prosecute.
Yeah.
I can tell you
And
that.
so we're not going to a little bit.
There's no
If the government
technicality
says in
getting around
Albany,
it.
no, then that's no. And so I wouldn't hold that much hope, but do what
Yeah.
you got to do.
I
And
kind of
there's
see it as a train that seems like it's coming eventually anyway.
You know, so
And,
that's what
and
you
I
think. I
understand.
don't think that.
Yeah,
I think the train is at the park. It stopped. Okay, so
Right, we
anyway,
have
listen,
a peddler's license. I think it's $1,000, isn't it?
I think it's
yeah,
2,500.
I think he's going through the
2,500.
application
So did
process.
he pay that?
Yeah,
No, not
he
yet.
was preparing the documentation.
There is licenses to sell it, and then the tax rates are different on those. You have to be taxed on the milligrams of the
THC in there, and there's extra taxes on it, but obviously, since we opted out of that, we wouldn't be
Right.
eligible for that, but, I figured I'd give it a shot anyways, and.
I would say do your research. You know,
Yeah,
but we as a town had voted not to sell it, not to consume it.
Right.
So I don't think even, what?
Not to license.
Well, yeah, consuming it, it's.
No, consuming it like big shops or
And that's another
whatever.
thing.
No, that, right, we don't have
Those
bake
shops,
bake
right.
shops.
No dispensing, no sale of,
In my 2 days over there, though, I did get a lot of people saying, thank goodness I can have somebody that I could come back to, that I know where you are, and that I could trust my wife or somebody going to you guys and not meeting somebody. Well, right now, there's people meeting people for marijuana in shady parking lots, gas stations.
They were in here when we made
the.
the, they were in here when we said no,
Right,
no,
no. Right.
and oh.
Right.
Okay,
So-
so I'm trying to change my minds on it, and, you know.
So if somebody in Albany says we've got to, then we'll talk about it with
Yeah.
our attorneys. But in
Yeah.
the meantime, this is not a place to start playing around with it.
And I'll mention to our police to make sure there are no shady parking lots that people are selling marijuana out of.
Well, they could be
Or
gifting
giving
it,
it
and then
away.
they wouldn't be doing anything illegal, but, you know, then.
that is a gray
I
area.
would- I just gifting something, I mean, marijuana is not.
Yeah.
Gifting is selling in the.
Yeah, I mean, I heard kids at the school were eating edibles and falling asleep there.
I'm just telling you,
They didn't just
watch
stumble
what
upon
you
it.
do.
No, I know, I
I'm
have been.
board gonna go, I mean, really, I am dead set against this. You know?
Personally, I'm kind of against it myself.
Stop giving it away. You had your 10
Well,
minutes.
I'm
Let's move on.
against the nature of having it all out in the open too much. I don't want to be I don't want to have a park riot where I'm smoking, kids are smoking joints and then I have kids. I don't have kids myself, but I don't like the open nature of it, but, you know, I think eventually this stuff, seems like it's.
I'd have to say at this point, you would be throwing away $2,500 to apply for a peddler's license. Because they will stop you. Based on what what Senator Martucci is telling me out of the cannabis committee, the police are gonna shut you down. Not gonna arrest you, they're gonna shut you down.
I can probably understand that. I just
I don't wanna see you waste your money. I mean, I told you to come here and.
But I
Okay.
came up with some ideas I could try to give back to the community, like I said, with the seminars and, you know.
No,
Well, you know, you can have whatever
No.
seminars you want, you just can't
Yeah,
teach them how to use it at that seminar.
okay.
So,
All right, well, I figured I'd give it a shot.
well, you did.
That was a good shot.
I already have the checker in that
That's a
town of
good
Goshen here, though, so,
No, rip it up, just rip it
Montgomery's a
up.
nice town too.
it's a cashier's check. I think you guys would have to cash it, right? But-
now you bring it back to the bank. They'll cash it. Yep. All right. Anything else,
Okay.
Bob?
I've got something I'd like to talk about.
Sure, go ahead.
There was a fellow, he was a stowaway on a ship from Germany. And he came to this country and he somehow found his way to Goshen, New York. And he built the hotel.
Occidental,
No, what's the other one?
St. Elmo?
St. Elmo Hotel, okay? He was also in the Union Army. He was captured twice by the Confederates. And he escaped both times. He ultimately made himself, he was on the County Board of Supervisors. And that was prior to 1891, when we started having supervisors and mayors. So he was big in the operation of the village. Okay? Well, this place burned down and there were no relics, nothing left. Well, I found a key to room 16 in Long Island in a box in the basement, and I bought it. And the granddaughter of the man who built this, okay, his name is Hock, H-O-C-K. She lives in Warwick. So Michelle Figliamini and I went over and spent an hour or more with this fella, with this lady. It was mesmerizing. And I'm so proud of Dr. Figliamini as a historian. She just knows what she's doing. And these two they were just chatting and having a wonderful time. And so, and I just sat there watching this lady. So she is our historian. I give her a lot of credit for what she did. And these two are going to stay connected. Phil, you know her. She was on the committee with us to reestablish the perpetual care
Yep.
fund for Slate Hill.
She traveled with us.
Yeah. No, I'm talking about the lady that, Mrs. Hawk.
Oh, okay.
She's put a lot of age on. Since, turn it off.
Did we adjourn the meeting?
So
We
Doug-
adjourned the
No,
meeting?
we can adjourn the meeting,
So
please.
Doug, where's the key?
I gave it to her.
Oh.
Can I get a motion to adjourn the
Close
meeting?
The meeting before.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn. So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
George. 1 second, guys.
You don't have one?
Yeah.
Hey, Kat, that actually
so
turned
sorry.
on because it turned red.
I know, but it still wasn't connected for some reason.
So it.
So if you see me with my microphone in, I'm going on the
So-
YouTube on my phone.
So
I
it
just
wasn't
got-
recorded.
It was
Damn it.
audio.
So when they.
So we have audio at least for people to hear, because people were watching.
They're
No.
really.
Just in- I didn't get to
Like
see
your
your
camera,
face.
you know?
No, what? It is.
That's why it would be better off just having it in its permanent. Don't take it down.
But I'm saying the same thing, it's the internet.
No, it's gonna be on.
No, but it's connected to the.
No, we're gonna have a permanent computer.
I
We're
heard
not gonna move the
Todd
computer
watching
back.
sometimes.
You want your Joe?
We're gonna have a permanent computer there just for Zoom.
I'm with you, Joe.
Um,
Doug's with
But
you.
people.
And I know it's wrong.
They